Hi, I'm Hank Haney, and here's a quick tip on how to fix your slice. The first thing that you're going to want to check is your grip. If your grip is too weak, meaning your hands are turned too far to the left, you need to make an adjustment. And that adjustment is turn your hands more to the right. That will allow you to close that club face a lot easier as you come through. So the first thing to check is your grip. If your grip is turned too much to the left, then you've got to adjust it back to the right a little bit so the V's that are formed by your thumb and forefinger point more towards your right shoulder. The next thing is try to get your golf swing to work more on an arc. An arcing swing will close the club face, a straight line swing will open the club face. So when you swing the golf club, concentrate on getting that golf club to come up and around as you swing. Up and around as you go back, around as you go through. And you're going to start curving that ball from right to left instead of from left to right. Thanks for watching this tip. I hope it helps your game. Hi, I'm Hank Haney, and here's a tip on how to fix those fat iron shots. There's a couple different ways that you can hit shots fat. There's what's called a steep fat, where you're coming down and your divot is too deep. You're hitting behind the ball and you're digging deep divot into the ground. The next way is to simply hit too far behind it. So let's deal with the first one, the real deep fat shot. That's always indicative of someone whose golf swing is too upright. The first thing you're going to want to check is make sure you have your posture set up correctly. If you bend over too much, your shoulders are going to tilt. You're going to stick the club in the ground. Stand up just a little more, get a good posture. Make sure when you turn, your left shoulder turns on its axis. You don't let it dip down too much. Get the golf club to swing up and around. If you take the golf club and you go too straight up, or you go inside and then lift it up, you're going to come down on too steep of an angle. You're going to chop into the ground. A good way to practice to level out your swing and to keep you from digging too deep in the ground is to take some practice swings where you just hold the club up off the ground like this. Take a few practice swings like this, you'll shallow out your swing and you'll stop digging in the ground too deep. Now the next way that golfers tend to hit shots fat is they simply hit too far behind the ball. And what that means is that the golf club is coming too far from the inside. The club's swinging too far from in here and out to the right, and as a result, they bottom out behind the ball. So if I'm scraping the ground kind of back here, I know that my swing is too shallow. That will cause you to hit shots fat, or it could cause you to hit shots thin. You hit shots fat if you hit the ground back here. You hit shots thin if you catch it on the upswing. So what you want to do in that case is try to get the club more in front of you in the backswing and in front of you in the downswing. You do that by getting your club and arm to rotate back in front of you. This gives you the angle that's necessary to hit the golf ball solid. If you can get the right plane, get the golf club coming in front of you, you're going to start making solid contact. You won't be bottoming out too far behind the golf ball. Thanks for watching this tip. I hope it helps your game. Hi, I'm Hank Haney, and here's a quick tip on how to fix your hook. A typical better player's mistake is when they hook the golf ball. I mean, every better player in the history of the game has fought a hook from right to left. The reason why you hook the golf ball is because the club face is coming in too close when you get to impact. Well, there could be a couple things that are causing that. The first thing you'd always check would be to see if your grip was too strong. If my hands are turned too much to the right on the club like this, that's considered too strong a grip. When I swing the golf club back, the club face is going to be too closed. And when I get down to the ball, it's likely to be too closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my grip. If it's too strong, I'm going to weaken my grip a little bit by turning my hands more to the left on the club. When I turn my grip more to the left, it's going to weaken the grip, it's going to square the club face, and that's a great way to eliminate your hook. The other thing that I'll do is I'll tighten my grip pressure a little bit. If you hold on a little too soft, especially with the right hand, you're going to tend to re-grab the club and you're going to close that club face. So I'm going to hold on a little tighter with my right hand. The next thing is I'm going to work on getting my body to clear through faster. If my body is working too slow relative to my hands and arms, the club face is always going to close. Club went through, body didn't move, club face closed. ball hooks. So in that situation, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try to make sure that when I come through the shot that everything moves through together. If my hips and my arms and my shoulders and everything moves through, the timing is going to stay correct in the golf swing, and that club face isn't going to close too much. Now, a classic better player's mistake is dropping the club too much to the inside like this, and then delivering the club too much from the inside, which gives you too much of an arc, and that's the way that they'll hook the golf ball. To fix that mistake, the first thing that you want to check is make sure the club is not too much across the line at the top. Generally that happens when your golf club gets too flat at some point in the backswing. The club gets too flat, then it uprights, and then it drops back in like this. So you'll see this kind of motion, flat, upright, and then dropping in. Anytime the golf club is across the line at the top, it's going to have a tendency to drop too much to the inside. When that happens, the body's stuck back here, your hands and club keep going, club face closes, and you get that hook. So to fix that shot that's hooking that way, try to get the club up at the start, rotate your left arm this way to get the golf club to point more to the left at the top of the swing, and then you're going to be able to get the rotation down in front of you. You rotate back, you rotate down. That club's coming down in front of me, and now I'm going to have the correct arc on the swing. My body can turn through, and that club face is going to stay square to the arc of the swing as I come through the shot. Keep working on trying to get the club to drop down in front of you instead of behind you if you're trying to fix your hook shot. Thanks for watching this tip. I hope it helps your game. Hi, I'm Hank Haney. Here's a quick tip on how to fix that dreaded shank. Now, one of the most dreaded mistakes you could have in golf is a shank. And that's, simply put, it's when you hit the ball toward the hosel of the club. You'll get these shots that just jar off to the right. One thing that I try to do is create a little barrier for the player that's having this problem. And usually you'll shank it with a wedge. That's the most prevalent club that you shank. So what I'll do is I'll take some tees and I kind of build a little wall, if you will. And this wall is going to be on the outside of the golf ball. So I take 3 or 4 tees, put them in the ground, and now I've got my little wall there. Now, when I swing the club, if I set the ball down next to those tees, if I swing the golf club and miss those tees, there's no way I can hit on the hosel of the club. This is a great way to practice. Now, when people hit off the hosel, they're getting either too close to the ball, or they're leaning into the golf ball, or they're taking the club back too flat and swinging it out there. But ideally, you're going to come back to right where you left from. I'm going to get that golf club coming up and down. Make sure I miss those tees. If you swing out too far, you hit the tees. You swing out too far, you hit on the hosel of the club. Ideally, you're going to hit in the center of the club. Put a little barrier up there, you'll fix your shank for sure. Thanks for watching this tip. I hope it helps your game. Hi, I'm Hank Haney, and here's a quick tip on how to fix the shots you hit off the toe of the club. The next mistake I'll talk about is hitting shots off the toe of the club. Now, there could be a couple reasons. Obviously, you could be standing too far from the golf ball, and that would be one reason you hit off the toe. So you could just try getting a little closer to it. Another reason why you'd hit off the toe of the club is that your golf swing is too upright. An upright swing doesn't go enough behind you, and if the club doesn't swing enough behind you, it won't swing enough out in front of you. Well, out in front of me is where the ball is. So what I'm going to work on here is get the correct distance from the ball, but also make sure that when I take the club back, the club comes up and around, and that golf club gets back here enough in order to swing out to the ball enough. And then I'll start hitting the ball in the center of the face. Once again, a good way to practice this might be to take some practice swings up off the ground here, and next thing you know, you'll get the arc of the swing correct, and you'll start hitting the ball right in the center of the face where you want to. Thanks for watching this tip. I hope it helps your game.